us do that one. There we are. Good afternoon, Jan.
Good morning, Michael.
It's been a
How
while.
how are you doing?
Doing well, doing well. Yeah. I didn't have a stream for the last 3 weeks. Yeah, two of
Mhm.
them were because I had conflicts. One of them was a dental emergency. The other one was a sales call. So I preferred the sales call.
Okay.
But yeah, then while you were on vacation, yeah,
Mhm.
I tried to do a solo stream and absolutely nothing worked, which is not unusual for this stream. However, I really didn't get any valuable content out of it. It was just like, oh, that didn't work, and trying to debug it, ah, it's just not going to work.
That that has
Hmm.
nothing to do with the fact that I wasn't there.
No, not at all, not at all. So, well, yeah.
No,
How was your
no,
vacation?
vacation was good. A lot of walking, a lot of eating.
Nice.
Yeah, we had a lot of good weather, so we were lucky because we were scared that it would rain, but not at all. Every day sunshine.
Oh, nice.
But yeah, when you come back, then you have to catch up all the things.
Hmm.
Um, but okay.
Yeah.
So my wife asked me this morning, when are we going the next time?
Mm,
I said,
yeah.
let me first catch up a little bit.
Yeah.
But okay.
Yeah, I'm feeling that too. I mean, we had two road trips back to back at the end of 25, and already I'm
Mm,
like, I need to get in the car again. I just need to go. Yeah,
yeah.
uh, this brand new world of AI was supposed to take on all of the drudgery tasks and give us more time, right? That was what we were supposed to do with it. That's not what's been
Yeah.
happening.
No, but well, it still has good surprises.
Yeah, yeah, it does.
Although not everybody agrees. Not everybody
That is
agrees.
true. That is true.
I was watching still some more videos on Pearl's side. I was watching also some things on YouTube.
Hmm.
And on YouTube there was a guy who really said coding before was a lot better. And one of the reasons he says because AI makes code very fast, but after that you don't understand what is going on.
Hmm.
It makes a big mess. You don't succeed in debugging, and finally you keep re-asking the same thing until the bug is fixed. But it might be 5 minutes. It might be one day.
Hmm.
I thought I should send him to Michael
Yeah. Yeah,
because actually
that is the default
he was
experience. Yeah.
he was vibe coding.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, that was where it got in
Hmm.
trouble.
Yeah. Yeah, very true. And that is kind of the what you would expect if you would just accepted the defaults. So
Mhm.
yeah, these things are trained on the average, and yeah, you're drawing a really big target, and it's just going to pick somewhere within that target. Say, I'm going to go there. I'm going to go there, and
Mhm.
so yeah, it picks a different place every time, and yeah, makes a big mess, unless you constrain your target, and now you've got
Mhm.
a much smaller space that it can pick from, and then it starts to produce more consistent output. But
Yeah.
that is harder than it appears. Um, but ironically, when you see someone do it, it's like, well, that was easy, because they're able to do it very quickly and they're able to get good results. But yeah, switching your mindset. A lot of the videos, like if you watch a short on somebody doing some vibe coding, they will say, make me an app that tracks my expenses, and that's the prompt. But you don't
Mhm.
start with the request. You start with research, with filling the bucket.
Mhm.
So, and then once you've got a bunch of research, and you know that it's directed in the way you want to go, then you can start to make a request. And then it's not the request for the end. You make the request for the next step. So write me a user journey for an application that tracks my expenses. After
Mm.
you've already said, yeah, hey, I'm a small business owner, and go out and yeah, here, let me upload some of my some of my previous the PDFs that I download from the bank, my previous statements. Um, you fill that bucket, and then you say, write me a user journey, and now it's going to write a document that is specific to a small business owner tracking their expenses, and it's going to step through all the different problems and scenarios that they might have. And now you've got it constrained. You're doing just one step, um, and and then you continue in that way, and you'll end up in a much better place.
Um, One of the things I got a question immediately on that.
Mm-hmm.
So you told me last time and the previous times about skills.
Mm-hmm.
And so one of the skills you made was the Jinaga skill.
Yes.
But in the settings of Cursor, you also find this docs setting where you can reference, for example, to the Jinaga website.
Mm.
What is the difference between it? Is it so that if you reference to the Jinaga website, every time he has to process the whole website? While if you make a skill, it's already summarized, so the token usage is
That's a big
better?
part of it. Yeah. 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 So parsing a website, there's a lot of behind the scenes that it has to do. It's making a web request. It's
Mm.
getting rid of all the HTML. It's trying to figure out, is this CSS important? And then of course there's all the JavaScript that it has to ignore. So so all of that is taking up the token window, and then you get to the content, and the content is not organized for the LLM, because the content always includes that table of contents on every page, and it always includes the title banner, and so just taking taking that and stripping out all the fluff, and giving it just the markdown of the content is a huge first step. Um, but then the
Mm.
next thing that skills give you is that they are loaded within this harness that Cursor is implementing of progressive disclosure. So Cursor knows
Mm.
when it's loading a skill to just load skill.md, and then to
Right.
ask the LLM the question, which of these resources are going to be important, and then just load the resources that it answers are going to be important for this task, which is not something that Cursor automatically knows to do with a Markdown file, because
Yeah.
it was it isn't put into that kind of a harness, because Markdown files are not not always progressive disclosure kind of documents. So so yeah, those two things are really huge in making the skill a lot more effective than just searching the website.
So is there still a usage for this doc feature, or is that just an old feature that is completely replaced by skills?
I think there's still a use in that, if you if you're using something that hasn't created a skill, and you can't install the skill, then that's a good first step. Um, honestly, I've had success. Yeah, in fact, the Janaga skill, I started this way. I said, navigate that that website, pull in all this
Mm.
documentation, and then let's discuss it after after that discussion. Which, first of all, lets me see that it got the right idea, and secondly, lets me inform the direction. Once we've done that, then I say create a skill, and then it's able to summarize it and do the progressive disclosure. So I would say putting in that work is more valuable than simply relying upon the docs feature. However, you could use the docs feature, then do that work, create the skill, and then take the doc out.
So creating a skill is only useful if you need it multiple times. If you say, okay,
Mm.
that information I just need it one time, you might as well use the doc feature,
Yeah,
and then afterwards forget it.
yeah,
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, and honestly, I haven't played with that, but I imagine that they put the traversal of the docks into a subagent, because Cursor has added subagents,
Okay.
and
Hmm.
they're actually pretty decent. I've I've had my kilo code blinders on. It's like nobody's doing subagents as good as kilo code, and then I look up and Claude Code is actually doing them better. Oh, here comes Cursor. Hey, it's doing a pretty good job. So,
Hmm.
okay. Maybe I don't have to be so strict on just using kilo code.
Hmm. And then I've seen a lot of new models appearing.
Mm.
And if you go to the settings in Cursor, most of these models are not enabled. So is the purpose that now that they have Composer 2.0, that you always choose Composer, or is the purpose to leave it on auto mode and disable most of the models? Because even
Hmm.
the latest chat GPT was not enabled on my cursor,
Interesting.
which I found a little bit strange.
Yeah. Yeah, you are a
Um,
subscriber now. You're not using the free version.
no, no, I'm a subscriber.
Yeah. Yeah, so you should have access to all those models.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I can enable them. Um,
Oh, you
wait,
can
let
enable
me.
them,
Yeah,
but they're disabled
yeah.
by default. Okay.
Wait, let me. Wait, if we close that. Wait, close this tab and then make the window smaller, and then we should get there.
Yeah, I
How
actually
did
need to
this
start
work?
Zoom. I haven't done that yet.
Ah, um, so where is cursor settings? Oh, which one is it now? Too many windows.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's gonna be that one. Share. I think I'm gonna move it here. That will be. Do you still? Yeah, you still see. So here I'm in the cursor settings, and perhaps I changed a little bit, but so Composer 2 was enabled.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Here you have this view all models, and I think
Okay.
ChatGPT 5.4 or GPT 5.4 was not enabled. So
Okay.
I
Well, I see
enabled
it
it.
there. I see it there. Oh, so you added it. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then yeah, you have the the low, the normal, and the high version,
Yeah.
the extra high version. Um,
Mm-hmm.
but look at all these models and all these
Yeah.
variations. I
Yeah.
mean,
Yeah. A lot of those are the older models. Um, yeah. So
I would
you.
I would I would suggest I just do add custom model and I fill in Michael L. Perry.
Yeah.
Problem solved.
Yeah. That'll be nice. One of these days, I do plan to train a model, but it won't be me. It'll be a Jinaga specific model. But Yeah, yeah. So most of these are older versions that have been superseded.
Mm-hmm.
You can still use them. The reason that they're there is that if you have very well tuned existing prompts, like existing agents, for example, that work really well with these old models, then you can turn them back on so that those agents can still access them until you get a chance to update to the agents. But yeah, you definitely want to pay attention to the pricing on each of those. Um, yeah, the price can vary widely, um, but yeah, I've found that GPT 5.4, just the regular one, it does a really good job. It's actually better on a lot of tasks than Sonnet 4.6. But as I saw a recent leak, um, Anthropic is about to launch something new, so
Oh,
that probably won't be true for long.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, if you go to the 5.4 high, that's kind of your opus level. Um, so you would want to use that if you're planning something out and it has to reason through lots of different hops. I've never touched extra high. I imagine that's pretty expensive. Um, but yeah, Composer 2 is actually pretty decent for the day to day tasks.
Mm-hmm.
So a really good plan is to or strategy is to plan um, in something like a GPT 5.4 or a 5.4 high or an Opus. So you use one of those for your planning, and then switch it to auto. It automatically switches to auto as the default before you hit the build button. Um, and so auto selects Composer 2 a lot of the time. But sometimes it says, "Oh, this looks like a task that I need to delegate to something else." But yeah, you also want to avoid the fast
Mm-hmm.
models. You're not in a hurry. Um, the fast models cost more and they produce lower quality because it basically bypasses some of the thinking, and it costs more because they put you on a different server that has higher priority.
Okay. Worst performance.
Yeah, yeah. So yeah, just that. In fact, I was actually sticking with 5.3 codecs for a little while, even when 5.4 had come out, because codecs is optimized for code, where GPT 5.4 is the GPT that's behind ChatGPT. So
Mm-hmm.
it's not code optimized. But yet when I put them head to head, I found that 5.4 actually did better on coding tasks than 5.3 codecs. So I
Okay.
said, okay, I'll use 5.4.
Mm-hmm. Perhaps 5.3 codex is perhaps a lot less expensive than 5.4.
Yeah, I think the price difference is small if I remember correctly, um, but yeah, as yeah, they definitely do charge less for the older
The older.
models. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Because I read something that Composer was the purpose of Cursor was to have Composer replace all the other models in day-to-day coding.
Yeah, that's been really an important part of their business model in order for them to continue to thrive in this. Continue to thrive. It's actually kind of funny for a company that's still losing money, but um, when they're kind of at the whim of the foundation model providers, then yeah, they're really not in charge of their own destiny. So they pretty much had to create Composer, and they did a good job. So yeah, Composer 2 does pretty good. Um, but yeah, it's a thing that had to be done.
Mm-hmm. Um, so no, what surprised me was that GPT 5.4 was not enabled in my setting,
Yeah, yeah, that
and
is
I had
surprising.
to enable it because I would imagine that if new models appear,
Mm-hmm.
they are automatically enabled. But okay, now it is enabled. Fine.
Yeah.
So I disabled the extra high. Uh, Codex is there. The low. Do you use the low
Um,
from time to time, or
no, I don't.
because in
Although,
that case, better take Composer, I guess.
yeah, I haven't put the two head to head. Yeah, um, I have started running evaluations. I don't know of a way to do that with Cursor, but I'm doing that with Cloud Code. Um, and with an evaluation, basically you can say, I want to optimize this skill, and so run these tests over this skill, and so with that process, after a couple of iterations, I was able to say, try that with haiku, and uh,
Mm-hmm.
and then haiku failed, and then optimize the skill a little bit better, addressing the things that Haiku got wrong. Put explicit instructions into the skill, and then it was able to do that well. Um, so I now have a couple of actually, these weren't skills; these were agents. I have a couple of agents that are tuned to work with Haiku, and I use them a lot while doing testing, and um, so I'm not spending an awful lot on tokens for testing. There's a smarter agent that's overrunning the whole test, but then when it delegates to one of these agents to run the browser and click on things, one is specifically the LaunchKings admin, the other one's specifically the LaunchKings attendee. Um, then it's able to do all that work just using Haiku. And so um, with if I were to use the GPT series, I would basically start an agent with GPT 5.4, and then I would optimize it to see if I could get it down to GPT 5.4 low, um, to save on some of the token costs. And it should also perform. It should be faster as well because it's not doing as much thinking. Basically, that's the thinking tab that is turning knob that is turning up and down.
Okay, that gives me some IDs. Yeah.
Yeah.
Beside that, I've the pieces of the puzzle are fitting, starting to fit very slowly, but it's still going much slower than I hoped for. But okay, I will get there.
Yeah, There's a lot to learn. Yeah. So have you been able to make some progress since you got back?
Just looking further into it, doing some tests, but not really on the Navis project itself. No. One thing I still came up with was that, so I want to do this saving all the data to make it repeatable, all the inspections. Because now I'm just saving the data that I need, but not the workflow data. Only what I didn't thought about was that I also need the whole settings of the program.
Yeah.
So that means all these settings will have to be stored as well for every single inspection.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. So by settings, are you so you're talking about the ones that you actually tweak for that inspection? So which weights you're going to be putting on?
These things are already stored in the old version. But then beside that we have some, say, company policy. So a certain client chooses to do all his inspections in a certain way. Or you can say, okay, we want to start with that weight, or we want to start with that weight. So the smallest weight we will be using is, for example, the minimum value, or is 2 times E. There is some liberty in that choice.
Okay.
But so if you want to repeat the inspection automatically, you have to store all that as well.
Yeah.
But okay.
Okay. Yeah, I can.
That was.
I can imagine a kind of a model for that. Yeah, go ahead.
That was one of these amazing things that I say, oh, I forgot something. It reminds me of the first version of Navis, which we started in 1999. And then when it was finished, for that I worked very close together with one of the specialists of my main customer. The man is retired in meanwhile. And when everything was finished, when we say, okay, now we move it to production, then they realized that one of the most important things was not in the software. Although we had been testing and thinking about it and reasoning and discussing with a lot of people, And so one of the most important features that you say, how is it possible that you forget it? But yeah, but okay, that was a few moments and it was running.
Yeah. Okay. Good. Good. Yeah. The model that I was just thinking about was I think by default we would have put those kinds of settings directly on the inspection. So inspection
Mm.
fact, and then the settings would be mutable properties on the inspection. But you just said that a particular customer wants their settings a certain way. And so doing that would
Mm.
mean that uh, you would you would have to configure your settings for every inspection for that customer, um, or or you'd have to do something clever like look back at the previous inspections for that customer and then you know, copy the latest one while you're starting a new one.
Yeah, but if ever they change, and that might happen, or even and yeah, that shouldn't happen anymore, where an individual inspector has a misconfiguration of his PC
Mm,
and uses different settings. The fact that we will automatically synchronize everything
yeah,
should solve that issue.
yeah, yeah. True.
Um, but so but so if they change the settings, well, I should have the most recent ones. Um, Now perhaps I just store it with the inspection itself. Uh,
Hmm.
it's not a really enormous amount of data. Um,
Yeah, yeah. The alternative that I was thinking about though was that you've got a fact that represents a current set of settings, and uh, and so that basically that is immutable. So that locks in these are the settings, and then you use an associative fact in order to associate that uh, those settings with an inspection. But then you can also associate
yeah.
those settings with a customer. So
Hmm.
now when you start an inspection, you say, well, let me just recreate that association to that exact same settings fact. And now if you change those settings, those preferences for the customer, you create a brand new uh, fact of settings.
Settings.
But that doesn't
Mm.
change what you've already done in the inspection. I already ran that
Yeah,
inspection with those settings, and that's important.
because the old inspections, they are associated with the old settings.
Yeah,
Yeah, that might even be a better solution.
yeah. And then that associative fact that would follow the entity reference pattern. So basically,
Yeah.
that's where you would put the prior array,
Hmm.
so that you could then look at what are my from given
Hmm.
the customer, what are my preferred settings, and then it would say where not where this preference hasn't been superseded, and then you would get the most recent ones.
Yeah. Okay. I will.
Yeah,
I will perhaps use that way.
yeah, yeah. That's the kind of taking the intent and then coming up with the model that describes that intent. That's the sort of thing that I want to bake into a larger historical modeling skill. So something
Mm.
that or agent or custom GPT. I'm not sure how to package it, but that set of instructions, the knowledge of um, what the rules of historical modeling are, and how they best fit, how they best apply to different problem scenarios. So that's the one that would basically be, like talking to me, like okay, based on this past experience and uh, what I've designed historical modeling to do. This is the these are some options, and then talk through the consequences of those options. Like, is it important that if you change this, that doesn't change? Oh, okay. Then let's go this way.
Okay. Where the artificial intelligence
Mm-hmm.
poses you the correct questions
Yeah.
and comes with the the right decisions afterwards.
Yes. Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's going to be quite an impressive skill.
Yeah, and I think yeah, I don't know if I've I don't think I've shared with you yet uh, the plan with Cascade and then with Jinaga is to make them into MCP servers so that you can use them um, from Claude Cowork. So
Mm-hmm.
actually, first of all, are you familiar with Claude Cowork?
No,
Oh,
no.
okay. Let me see if I can get this all
Nice.
set up. Boom, boom, boom.
I should stop sharing this, I guess. Yeah.
Okay. Oops. And yeah, let's go with that. Yeah, let me put a different background down there so it's a little bit easier to see. Okay. And then I need to share it. So, um, where is my
I
share?
guess you can also use it as an MCP server in Cursor.
There we go. There's the share. Yes, you'd be able to use it as an MCP server in Cursor as well. Okay. Well, that does put a green bar around it on the stream, but yeah, that actually just makes it easier to see. Okay, uh, so this is the Claude desktop app, and you can see that it's got 3 tabs. Here's the regular Claude chat, so very similar to ChatGPT. We've got our uh, I was hoping that it would give me the little hovers, um, but yeah, we've got our chats, our projects. So that's just chatting with it. But then we've also got Claude Code. I usually use Claude Code from the command line, but it's also possible to use Claude Code right here within this window. The difference is this window has more constraints around it, so it doesn't have to ask for your permission quite so often.
Okay.
But because it's got those constraints, I can't do things like use this to test the application and launch Windows, or maybe I can, but I haven't figured out how. Anyway, but Claude Cowork is basically the power of Claude Code, but more geared toward the non-developer. So you can start chatting with it, or you can put it inside of a project. So yeah, so here I'll put it inside of just the documents cowork. Or actually, no, let me do something a little bit more. Let's choose a different folder, and I will put it inside of. I will put it inside of projects. Let's see, /projects / Jinaga / or let's see. Yeah, Cascade. Okay. All right, so you'll be inside of that folder. Have to be in your home directory. Okay, well, we'll stick with this one. Okay, so now with this, it can access files that are inside of that directory. So let's see, list the files. And I think that it'll find that there's nothing there yet, because that would just be the default starting directory. So by default, nice and safe, everything that it does is inside of that folder. And oh, okay, I did put some things in there. That's right. Yeah, so we've got a couple of CSVs in there. So the idea with, well, let's do one more thing here. So we've got our skills and we've got our connectors. So skills, you might have seen me using the skill creator skill. Actually, we did that one several weeks back. I also have this skill here called the Pluralsight course summary, which allows me to create a summary of a course in the Pluralsight style. So I might say, let's design a course on let's talk about on guitar, classical guitar. Yeah. Let's take the learner from chord progressions to fingerstyle. So it's just, we're filling up the bucket. We're just kind of chatting through a thing, and then after it comes up with some ideas, of course we'll iterate on those ideas. Let's see, who's it for? This is for basic strummers. And oh, okay, so it saw the Pluralsight course, so it saw that skill. So it says, do you want to use that skill, basically? So this is going to be a short course, and then it is going to produce a summary that should look very familiar to anybody that has used michaelperry.net, because this is the way that that Pluralsight summarizes the course, and the way that I kind of duplicated for the site. But yeah, so yeah, a lot of the power that we get from skills and from MCP servers, we have to be inside of a development environment, or we have to be inside of a command line. But Cowork is intended to bring all that power into something that's a bit more friendly. Okay. Yeah. So it's describing what the skill is. Yeah, view your course summary, and here it is. So yeah, this skill tells it to do a high level paragraph that follows a particular pattern. Yeah, so yeah, this actually looks like a really fun course. I think I would want to take this. And so the paragraph is basically structured as in, what's the problem? In this course you will A, B, C, so that by the end you'll be able to do D. And so it kind of uses that structure, and then the next part is a scenario. So all of the Pluralsight courses follow a narrative. And so I like to take that quite literally and really follow somebody through a process. And so this outlines the scenario. And then you've got the learning objectives of each of the modules. So so these are the things that the learner will be able to do after watching each of those modules. And then you finally set it all up, and then on Pluralsight. Every single one of them has this on Pluralsight link at the bottom. So
Mm.
yeah, if you go to my website, uh, you'll see that that my course descriptions look like this. It's because I used this skill in order to create them. But that is all you have to do in order to bring a skill into Cowork. Makes it really easy uh, for your coworkers. Then the next part is connectors, and so uh, each of these connectors is a plugin. It's a set of skills, MCP servers that have been published in a certain format, so that you can just plug them in. So manage connectors. You can go out to a repository that that Anthropic has put together, and you can pull in the plugins. I think actually I'm going to have to look up what's the difference between a plugin and a connector, because what I was describing is really a plugin. I think maybe a connector goes even deeper and does the authorization. But yeah, and here you can bring in skills. So yeah, these are the skills that it found in my profile. So these are kind of the public skills that I've installed for me through Claude Code. But yeah, you can also package up a skill as a zip file and send it to somebody, and they can install it. Actually, I can't see exactly how to install it here, but yeah. So you'll notice right here, if I go to the connectors, there's the Jinaga Cascade connector, and so that has a set of tools in there. You can't see the full tool name, but these are different tools that the Jinaga Cascade application itself, yeah, it's not bringing that up, but the Jinaga Cascade application exposes these tools so that you can work with a Cascade file. And so, yeah, bringing in that Jinaga Cascade connector means that that now I can operate on some of those files that we saw in the folder. So this was the part that that didn't work last week, so or the week before. So this probably isn't going to work this time, but the idea would be use Jinaga Cascade to show me the structure of, then at, and then here you've got your the files. Oh, yeah, there's the classical guitar chord progression fingerstyle folder. So yeah, let's bring in the Stripe payments demo. And so this will call that MCP server and tell the MCP server to open that file. And the MCP server will return information about what's in there. So okay, actually this one is working at least this far. Okay, so we've got these columns. These are the types, and it's pulling some examples from the file itself. So that's basically what this tool is intended to do. And it gives you the number of rows, but the tool only returns the top one or maybe the top three. So the idea is that you should be able to create a pie chart of so we're going to want amount, total amount by and let's go with product name. This is the part that probably isn't going to work. It'll be really funny if it does, though. Um, and um, and so this is going to invoke a different tool that's first going to build a pipeline. Um, okay, so it's getting the DSL reference. So it's learning about the pipeline language first. So this MCP server also has resources in it. It also has a set of instructions. Um, and then it's trying to add a data source. So, okay, in fact, this time it's gotten past the ones that I said to always allow. So, the demo definitely failed before this point last time. So I didn't get a chance to say always allow. But this lets you peek behind the covers. It's trying to send this request. So it's sending in stripepayments.cascade inside of this Cowork folder, but you'll notice that's inside of some other folder here. It actually has created a container and mounted that file in that container, and now it's doing all the work inside of there. So that's how all that is working. So yeah, when you install Cowork as a non-developer, you don't also have to install Docker. It just kind of comes with it. But so they don't have to know that Docker's running behind the scenes. But we say, okay, I want to create this collection. And here is all the information about that collection. So let's go ahead and allow that. So it's added that data source, and now it's going to set up the pipeline. So, okay, so it didn't have to ask my permission that time for the pipeline, but we should be able to still see the request. And so we can see here it created this Jinaga Cascade pipeline definition. So it said, okay, here's the pipeline. We're going to call it pipeline 1 from payments. That was the source that it created up here. So first, group by product name as products, and then some amount over payments into the total amount. And now it's got a summarized set of objects. So each one has a distinct product name and a total amount, as well as an array that contains all the data. So all of that is, those are the steps that this pipeline defines. So just operate on the data source and produce that result. So here's the response saying, yes, I did it. I don't know if there's anything useful or interesting about that response, because it did look like it was successful. And then it adds a visualization. So here is the visualization. I want to create a pie chart. Label field is product name, and the value field is total amount. The format is currency, so you put a $sign on it, and then it creates that pipeline, or that pie chart inside of the Cascade file. So what happened on my other monitor is another Cascade window popped up. And the intent was that Cascade window would be showing the pie chart. That part I knew wasn't working at the time. I tried this a couple weeks ago. But I've since decided that's not the direction I want to go. I don't want it to pop open another window. I want it to show the pie chart right here inside of Cowork. And there is a way to do that, and so I'm working on that mechanism. But I can show you that mechanism by telling it to do the same thing with Excel. Because at least for this kind of a problem, Excel can do that too. After all, I am competing against Excel. And so it ran a skill. The skill was the XLSX skill, which is one of the skills that Anthropic themselves publish. And it's a skill that knows how to work with Excel files. So now um, it actually created some Python in order to work with Excel. So now it runs the Python. The Python drives Excel, and then puts in the data and generates uh,
A cheat.
the sheet. Um,
Yeah.
and now it's able to show Excel inside of Cowork. So this doesn't have to open up a separate window the way that I was doing it
Mm.
um, with Cascade. And so now there's your pie chart completely rendered in Excel. So that's the experience that I'm going to be building into Cascade as well. But of course, you might ask,
Yeah.
why ship Cascade if Excel can already do this? And yeah, the answer is that once you've got this done with Excel, the data and the chart are now in this same file. And
Mm.
Cascade is all about building a pipeline that you could update the data over time, which is a hard thing to do with Excel.
Mm.
But yeah, that's the experience that I'm going for there. So yeah, that's
Yeah.
Cowork. That basically takes all of this power of MCP servers and skills and plugins and gives it to people that aren't used to using an IDE, um, and
So
they can get
the
stuff done.
people, yeah, the people who want to use Cascade, they will use it by using Cowork, Cloud Cowork.
That'll be one way to use it. Yeah, they could, of course,
Okay.
uh, just install the desktop application and use that. So yeah, I'm still going for the desktop experience is uh, is the optimal, and I want to make sure that that's a great experience for everybody. But if you find yourself working in Cowork, then yeah, you should be able to just call up Cascade, do some stuff with it, and behind the scenes, it's creating a Cascade file. So then you should be able to just double click on that Cascade file and open it up in the Cascade desktop application um, and see your pipelines run.
Because this Cowork is developed for the general public.
Mm-hmm.
It's not a pure developer tool.
Right, right.
Okay.
Yep, yep. Developers are going to want that tab, or they're going to want to use the command line.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, that is that experience. And pop it over there. Bloop. There we go. And so the next step after that. So there are two ways that you can expose an MCP server. It could be something that's running on your machine, and then you're just accessing it through standard in, standard out. Um, and so that's how this MCP server is working right now, because you've installed Cascade, and so the Cascade application uh, it runs as an MCP server as well. You just run it with dash dash MCP, and then it does the standard in, standard out thing. But another way that you could do that is by hosting it, and then you access it through HTTPS and using service sent events. So you just connect and you say, here's my tool calls, and then it says, okay, here are the results of the tool calls, and it just keeps that socket open. The nice thing about the hosted one, of course, one, client doesn't have to install anything, but two, it's also integrated with open or with the OAuth, so you can authenticate the user. And so now you subscribe to Cascade as a service, and then connect your MCP server to your Cascade files. So take that one step further, subscribe to Jinaga as a service, and now you've got an MCP server that has its own replicator. Yeah. And then the experience is going to be, hey, keep track of my expenses for me. It says, okay, I'm going to create a little Jinaga model, set that up on the replicator, and say, all right, yeah, you tell me about your expenses. Okay, yeah, I went here. Here's the flight. Here's the hotel. Let me drop in some PDFs. I said, okay, I'm going to parse all the information from the PDFs, and I'll create those facts, and I'll send them up to the replicator. I said, okay, it's all saved in your replicator. Go to another machine. It's there because you logged in as you, and so you still have access to your data. You've built a custom application just by saying keep track of my expenses, and um, and then that will then connect to the other components. So Cascade is really the front end to what will become the Jinaga aggregator. And so that will run all these aggregations in the cloud based on your facts in your replicator. So then you'll be able to say, create a bar chart of my travel expenses over the past 12 months. So okay, and then that shows up inside of Cowork. And so you're building the application that you need, and it's all using Jinaga in the back end.
Yeah, that becomes a very flexible and powerful system.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yep. That's the direction that I'm going.
It reminds me of an application I built when I was still studying
Mm-hmm.
for school, where it was at the factory of Philips
Mm.
in Belgium, where they made at that time still the high-end color televisions.
Mm-hmm.
Because the low-end color televisions were built in Asia, but high-end was still there. Now everything has disappeared. So they needed, what was it? They were automatically making these PCBs, putting all the components on it. But then there were still young ladies with a kind of template,
Mm-hmm.
put it over to check whether all the components were there.
Yeah.
And when there were missing components, they had to enter it on an old terminal, the green terminals.
Uh-huh.
That went into a VAX computer system. And so I think, it was with some Fortran code at that time, and it was. And then finally, I think it was a project of a whole year, every Friday or something. And then by the end of the year, we had some graphics coming out of it.
Mm.
So if you compare that with the tools today, how easy with Cascade
Mm-hmm.
you can monitor this, or you can use this data.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
Yeah. Yeah. That's the
it's
idea, and
yeah.
that's the experience that I'm going for that Excel doesn't give you, and that is that you
Mm,
should be able to, after getting all of this set up, which you could do through Cowork and just kind of prompt it up, open up Cascade, and you've got your dashboard, all these different visualizations, and
mm,
they're connected to live data sources. And then the reason it's called Cascade
mm.
is as new data comes in, it cascades through the pipeline
It it
and
adapts automatically.
yeah, updates the data source or updates the
Yeah.
visualization on the dashboard. Yeah.
Mm. You should have told me that 40 years ago. They would have been happy with that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, this is based on a set of mathematics called uh, it's maintenance, not progressive maintenance, but yeah, but basically the idea that there are a few systems that do this now with SQL. It's really
Mm,
fascinating. So we can take a SQL query, and then it can turn it into a pipeline that maintains the output as new records appear. Um,
mm,
so it's like, oh, you just did an update. Okay, let me see what small part of this query that update responds to. So basically, turns the SQL from a query plan, where just run this query plan, and at the end you've got your results, into a pipeline. So Um, so now take each result, flow it through the pipeline, and then build up the materialized view. So so yeah, yeah, there's a paper on that I read. I actually popped that into the Cascade repository, and told the LLM, look at this. And it's like, oh yeah, that's what you're trying to do here. Yeah, isn't that awesome? What can we use from this paper? And it found, well, you're already doing this, but this idea, you're not doing that. Oh, let's do that. Um, yeah, that's research.
Mm. Amazing,
Mm-hmm.
amazing. Yeah, that work at that company was one of my first experiences with security.
Mm. I
One
hope
of
it
my
was a good
first failures.
experience.
No, what happened by the end of like always students, and I'm still always too late. So by the end, it got a little bit urgent. So I stayed a little bit longer. And so I was a student, and my supervisor said, okay, no problem. When you finish, you switch off the light, you close the door. And it was a very big factory hall, several factory halls.
Mm-hmm.
And so the next morning I came back because it was very urgent. Um, the whole factory, normally it was 24 hours a day running. It was silent,
Oh.
silent.
Mm.
I went to the office, started working, and then my boss came in a little bit later. What's happening? What's happening? The whole production is down. I don't know. I'm just a student. I think he's retired a long time ago, so it doesn't matter. Actually, what happened, I wanted to print out something. I was supposed to work on a development machine, but the development machine was down. So
Mm.
they put me on a production machine. There was enough capacity. Then I wanted to print out something.
Uh-huh.
So I typed, it was something like copy to printer.
Uh-huh.
But I said, was it printer or was it print? So I said copy to print or something. Only it was copy to printer, and print was a kind of alias to a file which contains all the production data for the PCBs.
Oh wow.
So my text overwrite the database for production.
Wow.
And around midnight, all the machines they work autonomously,
Uh-huh.
but they charge new production data. And so one after another, all the production lines went down. Then they start calling my boss who was in charge for the production and all the other, and nobody was available.
Mm.
So all the employees were just drinking coffee.
Wow.
And as a student, I was already a disaster. But
Yeah. Well,
ev-
when the student takes down production, it's not the
yeah,
student's fault.
no, so everybody kept quiet.
Mm-hmm.
When I heard them discussing, I said, "Huh, that file? Yeah, I did something." Shh, Jan. Shh.
uh,
So
what
anyway,
would be
later,
even funnier is if the PCB boards came out and it had your text etched on the.
well, no, but he
Mm-hmm.
discovered in that file he saw some text and he said, "What is this text?" And there I realized, oh, something went wrong.
Yeah. Wow.
Anyway, the factories closed down. They went to Asia, but that was not the
That
reason.
wasn't the
That was
reason.
not my fault. Was not a consequence of my doing.
Mm-hmm.
But so there I learned be careful by running on production machines. The intent was very good. Oh,
Mm-hmm.
the development machine is down, Jan, go on the production machine. It were just two big micro vaxes at a time.
Oh wow.
But yeah, the
Yeah.
consequences were very expensive, I think.
Mm-hmm.
But okay, my project worked. Everybody was happy and
Yeah.
good.
Yeah. The first fault was with the person that told you to move to the production machine. And the second fault was actually activating your account, and the third was not constraining
Uh,
what it could do.
and coincidences, you type print instead of printer, and then print there was an alias that points to a
Mm-hmm.
PCB file, and a lot of things that can go wrong, and
Yeah.
all together cost. Yeah. But
Yeah, that's
okay.
a good one.
Mm. So
Very good. Well, hey, maybe next week. Oh, I am planning. I am getting ready for code launch. So next week I might be able to show a little bit about what's happening with Launch Kings, and in fact,
mm,
I will be participating in the developer league this time. So I'm actually going to be helping a startup to build uh, some features for their application. So
okay.
yeah, might be able to show a little bit about that. But that
So you
application is not using Jinaga, so won't be able to
but
try.
but so you might win
Mm-hmm.
at the competition.
Yep, yep,
Hmm.
yep. That would be nice. Yeah, mostly it's helped the startup win, but yeah,
Mm.
as the development team that helped the startup win, there's definitely some yeah some incentives that go along with that too.
And you know already what type of application that it is, or
Yes, yes. I am not yet at liberty to say. They haven't announced
mm.
the competitors uh, for Code Launch, um, but yeah, as soon as I'm able to say and to show. In fact, you know what? I might not even be able to next week. Yeah, because this is a yeah this is a recording of Code Launch that is going to then be live streamed later, and um,
Mm.
yeah, so this is a new way that we're doing Code Launch. So they might not even announce the competitors until closer to the live stream. So yeah,
Okay,
yeah, might not be able to share that, but I will be able to share what I'm doing with Launch Kings,
okay.
because there's a nice little Cascade tie-in there.
Hmm. So you made some updates again to the software.
Yes, yeah, yeah, and it's working fast now.
Mm.
Yeah,
Great. Looking forward to that one.
yeah, yeah. That's what all this view maintenance. That's what it's called, view maintenance. That's what view maintenance is all about. Making it fast.
Mm.
So yeah, I will share some of that next week.
But so that means because you are participating at the competition, you cannot monitor um, the software itself, code
Mm-hmm.
launch itself.
True. Yes. Well,
So,
um, I will be so I'll be participating in the competition with a couple of hackathons leading up to the event. Then at the event is where everybody votes. So I will be enjoying myself in the audience, voting with everybody else, and maybe even running up on stage at the end if we win.
mm,
But but during the voting, yeah, if something goes wrong, I'll still be able to pop in and fix
mm,
things. But yeah, we've run now 3 events using Launch Kings, and they all went really well. So nobody's um, really concerned. And
mm,
I'm doing uh, yeah, after making these changes, I'm doing a lot of load testing, and now even using Claude Code in order to run some tests, and it's finding some stuff that then I've been able to go back. So some things that I actually fixed in Jinaga itself in the replicator. Um,
mm.
so um, so yeah, yeah, I'm looking at this, and like this is even more solid than than the 3 that we've already run. So and it's going to be a small studio audience, so I'm not concerned uh, about the load. So this,
Mm.
I think it's gonna work extremely well.
It's it's production ready.
Yeah, yeah, it is production ready now. Yeah, it's
Long
not
as you
yet
don't have a
zero defects, but zero
as
defect
long as you
software is
don't have
good.
a students around like me, it would
Yeah.
be okay.
Yeah, well, I'm not giving anybody else keys to production.
Mm. All right, then see you next week, Michael.
Yep, I'll see you then.
Okay,
Great.
thank
Thanks,
you,
Jan.
and bye bye.
Bye.